Hello everybody and welcome back. This is Swati Gupta, Chartered Accountant. Today we are going to study International Accounting Standard 2, or you can say Indian Accounting Standard 2, that is Ind AS 2. The name of the standard is Valuation of Inventory. These both standards can be studied together because there is no sort of differences or carves between them. From now onwards, all the standards will be recorded and explained in both Hindi and English language. There are separate playlists made on the same channel. So in case if you have any language issue or any doubts, you can definitely check out the other playlist available on the same channel. Now, if you are new to the channel, then subscribe to the channel, and in case if you like the video, then don't forget to like, share and comment on it. Also, PDF notes are attached in the description box so that you can download it and use it for your reference. So to begin with, we'll start with the basics of inventory valuation, and then we'll head towards some critical point discussions for valuation of inventory. Okay, so without any delay, let's begin. First comes is meaning of inventory. Here, sale in the ordinary course of business, that means finished goods in the process of production, that is WIP, okay, and raw material. These all three will be considered in inventory. Now inventory means finished goods, WIP and raw material. All three will be included in the valuation of inventory. Inventories are the assets held by an enterprise as finished goods, WIP or inventory. This is the definition given by the standard. Now next comes valuation basics. From basics, as soon as you hear, what comes to your mind is NRV or cost, whichever is lower, we'll take that. But this is partially true because this is not applicable everywhere. Let's see how it is applicable. First comes the stock in trade or finished goods. It is always the same. That means it is valued at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Okay, it is always valued at cost, and if NRV is lower, then it will be valued at NRV. The same rule, standard rule. Work in progress. It is also same, always valued at cost, and in case if NRV is lower, then valued at NRV. Okay, cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Now comes raw material, very important. The raw material valuation depends upon finished goods. The raw material valuation depends upon finished goods. We have to look first if finished goods is already recorded at cost, then raw material will also be recorded at cost, and if finished goods is recorded at NRV, then raw material will be recorded at replacement cost. Okay, so for valuation of raw material, you have to look on the valuation of finished goods. If finished goods are at cost, then raw material will be also at cost. If finished goods are valued at NRV, net realizable value, then raw material will be valued at replacement cost. Next comes customer specific inventory. This is inventory that is specifically designed by the customer. They have given their specifications and customization is done for a particular customer. Okay, so this is very dependent on the customer's financial health. If the customer is financially fit, then record it at the cost. And if customer is in liquidity crisis, that means he will be unable to pay this, buy this. And if, see, in general, the standard products are saleable and are consumable by many buyers. Okay, there are multiple customers, anybody can buy it for the standard product. But if it is customized according to some size or some specific design, then there is specific customer. Other than this, the sale value is 0, therefore it is recorded at 0. Okay, we have only one customer, and if that customer is going through liquidity crisis, then what will happen? Then we will record the value of such inventory at 0, and if he is financially fit, then we will record at cost. Next comes valuation of empty bottles. These are always recorded at nominal value. It is included in inventory and recorded at nominal value, that is rupees 1, rupees 10, etc. Valuation of scrap, it is always recorded at NRV. Inventory under forward contract, cost or forward price, whichever is lower. Inventory under forward contract means, for example, you have done a deal and contract that you will purchase, for example, 10,000 of items, and you have put a advance order and you have said that I'll pick this up on a certain date at a certain time in Okay, then this deal is done. This is a forward price. At a forward price you have dealt in. Okay, at that time I'll purchase at rupees 85 each. Okay, this is forward price. So the cost or forward price, whichever is lower, will be recorded as the valuation of this inventory, which is done under the forward contract. Inventory out of use, any non-moving inventory, slow moving inventory, okay, it is always valued at NRV. That means the consumption is almost negligible. It is getting no value. The business is getting no value out of it. It is of no use anymore. Okay, it will be recorded at NRV, net realizable value. Now, cost of NRV of each item shall be considered separately. Very important. The standard says a general rule that all the NRV, all the cost items should be compared and shown separately for each and every item, unless and until an exception is given. That is, if inventory is of similar nature, is interchangeable units. For example, toffees, chocolates, standard products are there, standard pens. They can be interchanged. Okay, 2 pens of identical nature, identical size, identical price can be interchanged. So if it has similar units, then it can be valued in group, aggregated. Otherwise, it should be valued separately. It should be considered separately. Next, NRV is calculated if any of the following condition exists. If any physical damage, will go for NRV. If slow moving inventory, that means very less consumption, once in a while, occasional consumptions, then NRV. Increasing cost of production, NRV, and decreasing selling price. If any of these 4 conditions occur, then we'll surely ensure that NRV is taken as the value of inventory. Next, NRV of WIP. WIP means work in progress. It is neither finished goods nor raw material. Okay, it is work in progress. Okay, now selling price of finished goods is taken, then selling cost is less. Okay, and after this, conversion cost from WIP to finished goods. Some additional cost will be added, then only finished goods will be made out of that WIP. That additional cost is also deducted. Then we realize the NRV of WIP, and this is the cost at which the WIP will be valued in case if cost or NRV, whichever is lower, will be taken. Okay, in case if you have to take NRV, we have to calculate this way. Next, cost of inventory means raw material plus labor plus overhead and other cost. Raw material is cost is calculated as follows. First and foremost and very important thing, that purchase price is paid excluding refundable taxes, any GST import etc. If it's there and it is refundable, that you will get input of it and you will get it refunded, you will get it set off with another liability, then this needs to be deducted, this needs to be excluded from the purchase price. For example, if you paid 100 rupees and 18 rupees GST, 118. Okay, if in case this 18 rupees is refundable, then you have to take purchase price of raw material only rupees 100. Okay, purchase price excluding refundable taxes, this will be removed, this will be excluded while calculating the price of the value of raw materials. Then add non-refundable taxes, add carriage or freight, any unloading, loading charges, transportation cost and clearing agent charges if any, and this will be added and will be taken as cost of raw material. Now trade discount is adjusted in the purchase price. We know this, we have done journal entries in standard 11th and 12th, okay, the starting ones. It is always adjusted directly in price, whereas the cash discounts are taken to PL. Now watchman salary, warehouse rent, similar expenses are transferred always to PL. These are not directly attributable to the raw material and therefore these are deducted. These are not deducted, these are not taken into consideration while calculating the cost of raw material. They are directly transferred to the P&L. Now labor cost, it is always taken on actual basis. Next comes overhead cost, that is variable or fixed. Variable is always taken on actual basis, fixed is always taken on normal capacity. Okay, normal capacity, and it is divided and allocated on the basis of normal capacity. But in case there is an exception, that if actual production is more than normal production, okay, normal capacity is 1000 and if you produce 1200, okay, more than 1000, then allocation is based on actual. Okay, what is the normal general rule? That it should be allocated on normal capacity, and if actual production is more than normal capacity, then it will be allocated on actual basis, actual production basis. Now other costs, specific design and specific cost need to be capitalized, means need to be added into the cost of inventory. Selling, distribution, abnormal loss, refundable taxes, borrowing costs, these all will be taken to P&L. Okay, directly P&L. Now comes packing material. This is very important. First, it is primary or secondary. Let's understand. For example, you take a toothpaste. Example, toothpaste. Okay, there comes an initial tube in which the toothpaste content is filled, and then later comes a cardboard box packaging. Okay, when it is bought. Okay, there is two level packaging, one cardboard box, and then inside when you open that cardboard box, you get a tube filled with the toothpaste content. Okay, so primary packaging, the tube is the primary packaging, whereas the additional cardboard is the secondary packaging. So the primary packaging, that is the cost of the tube, is included in the cost of the inventory, whereas the packaging of the secondary packaging, that is packaging of box, the amount of that is taken into P&L. Deferred payment inventory, if inventory and it has to be paid, the amount has to be paid later, after 6 months, after a year, etc., then you have to include the cash price. Okay, and the purchase price and cash price difference is transferred to P&L, and it is the interest cost. Okay, the deferred payment, the payment that you are paying late, will be added with some cost, that is interest portion, and this interest portion will be taken to P&L. Next comes joint product. In case when at times product is produced, okay, raw material inputs are put and products are produced, there comes more than one output. Okay, for example, one main output, second main output, and then byproducts. That means without any additional effort, the products are generated, okay, and scrapped. At times there are more than one output. Then in case, what happens if the byproduct is material? If it is material, then recorded separately. If it is immaterial, then deducted from the actual production cost. Okay, now if the byproduct that has been generated, that has been produced as an output, as a result of that input, then what happens? If it is material, then recorded separately, and if it is immaterial, then deducted from the actual cost of production. Later, the realization of scrap is deducted from total production cost. Next comes net realizable value, that is NRV. This means selling price minus selling cost. Estimated selling price minus estimated selling cost is known as NRV. Decrease in inventory due to NRV valuation is exceptional item. Okay, this is very rare item, occasional item, and is considered as exceptional item. Whereas the NRV must be reassessed at each balance sheet date. Okay, it will not happen that prior to 2 years you have taken NRV and considered it. Okay, now for the current balance sheet also you will consider that 2 years back ago, 2 years later 2 years. Okay, one degree. Okay. This means that for the current balance sheet date, you cannot take the NRV that was assessed 2 years back. Okay, you have to reassess it on each and every balance sheet date. A fresh NRV, the latest NRV, should be taken into consideration. Okay, it should be reassessed at each balance sheet date. If NRV increases, then reversal can be made. Okay, if NRV increases, then reversal can be made, but cannot exceed actual cost. This is very important. We'll understand this with an example. Okay. First comes 31st March 2020. The cost is 1 lakh rupees. NRV is 80,000 if assessed. Then the valuation will be whichever is less, it is valued at 80,000. The 20,000 is debited to P&L. Now on the next balance sheet date, the cost is same. The NRV is 70,000. Now it is valued at cost or NRV, whichever is lower, means valuation is done on 70,000. The 10,000 is debited to P&L. Now on the next balance sheet date, the cost is same. The NRV has increased from 70,000 to 95,000. This means valuation will be 1 lakh or 95,000, whichever is lower. This means this is valued at 95,000. Now this difference of 25,000 is reversed in P&L. Okay, see, this is credited, whereas Here 1 lakh and 1,10,000, whichever is lower, we'll record at 1 lakh. Now the amount will be reversed in P&L, but up to the cost. It cannot exceed cost. Okay, this is also reversal, but up to what? Up to cost. See, again see, NRV, if NRV increases, then reversal can be made but cannot exceed actual cost. It can never exceed the actual cost. Okay, now rise in value up to the cost only, whereas fall in value of inventory is done. Now comes cost formula. There are two options. If in case there are similar and interchangeable units, this means example standard product. Okay, standard products like, example for like pens. Okay, if these are standard products, toffees, etc., then you have two approaches, historical or non-historical approach. In historical, there is FIFO method, first in first out, or weighted average. Whereas in non-historical method, there is retail inventory method, that is sales price minus gross margin equals to cost. Okay, or standard method, that means you will take out variances and all. In case if it is not similar or not interchangeable units, example very specific design, example like very specific designs. Okay, for example boutique pieces, jewelry pieces, specific identification method is taken, example gold jewelry. Okay, no two pieces of jewelry are equal and same, they have different weights, different designs and all. Okay, so these cannot be interchanged, these need to be valued with a method, specific identification method. And if there are similar inventory units, then it can be aggregated and valued either FIFO, weighted average, retail inventory, or standard cost. Now last requirement comes is disclosure requirements. On the top, a good news that there is no chaos between both the standards. Disclosure requirement, first you have to disclose accounting policy, then the carrying amount of inventory. For example, in balance sheet you have written, for example, the inventory is of 3 lakh rupees. Then you have to bifurcate what amount is being held as raw material, what for WIP, what for finished goods, and what for stock in trade, and what for loose tools. You have to bifurcate these and show it in notes to account. Okay, in case inventory held as pledge security, you have to disclose this. This means that if any time inventory is put as a collateral, okay, as a collateral, then it will be a pledge security and it has to be disclosed. For movable property, the term pledge is used for collateral, whereas for immovable property, the term mortgage is used for as collateral. Okay, when it is put, so inventory is movable, okay, therefore it is pledged security. It is when it is put as collateral, it is termed as pledged. Inventory or at NRV and other required disclosures, if any. You have to disclose this while using this standard if applied. Okay, in case of any doubt, you can definitely comment us and I'll get back to you ASAP. I hope you understand it, you find it worth your time. Subscribe to the channel, like and share, and comment to the video. See you in the next videos. Till then, take care, be safe, stay tuned.